returned to South Carolina's Lake Murray. The FLW's third stop of the season saw water levels down, but stringer weights up thanks to some of the biggest bass of the year. Today's 10 finalists earned a shot at a $100,000 payday. We'll crown a champion today, starting right now on FLW Outdoors.
To Columbia, South Carolina. This is the third stop on the Walmart FLW Tour. I'm Carlton Wing.
I'm Taylor Carr.
I'm Charlie Evans. This event presented by Snickers.
Our 10 finalists have just taken the stage, and as we talk about this tournament, weather comes into play at all of our events, but especially at this tournament, weather came into play. It zigged when we thought it was going to zag, and we ended up with some wet stuff.
I'll tell you, we started out with 2 beautiful days, the fish moving up every day, getting more and more aggressive, and then things kind of turned south on us.
And in between that, record catches. Darrell Roberts in the first 2 days had 49.8, a record for the first 2 days of an event. So the fish are here. We're going to see some big fish on stage today.
Our anglers were not affected also by the fact that the water level is down here at Lake Murray. They're working on the dam, and it took it down 15 feet below its normal levels.
Like fishing a brand new lake for these guys, but they adjusted, they adapted, and they figured out how to catch them. We've seen some huge catches this week.
Even 15 feet down, this lake is beautiful. Isn't it, crowd? Beautiful lake? Uh-huh.
We'll have more on the record-setting catches a little bit later on in our program. And coming up, you're going to see a shootout-style weigh-in like no other. One of these 10 finalists will win $100,000. Don't go away. We'll be right back on FLW Outdoors. Welcome back, everybody, to Columbia, South Carolina, the home of beautiful Lake Murray, and the third stop on the Walmart FLW Tour. And as we look at our 10 finalists on the stage today, each of them have picked up very valuable points in the season standings. Each of our pros trying to make that road to Richmond, where it is paved with $1.5 million for that season-ending Jacobs Cup Championship.
Our top 48 pros and top 48 co-anglers will qualify in that no-entry fee event. Last place, 48th place, pays $12,200. Our bracket-style competition will lead us down to our top 12, where somebody will win $500,000 in cash. That's September 11th through 14th in Richmond, and we'll have a great outdoor show, 4 days of great outdoor show.
And these anglers, I think, are thinking about that $500,000 first prize. That's a huge first-place prize, and all these points awarded today go toward the road to Richmond in September.
Well, making those big points is important, and making the big points started right here for these 10 finalists who started out with a full field of 175. They had to make that first big cut.
Yeah, they had to fish 2 days to make the top 10. These anglers you see on stage now are down from a field of 175. The first 2 days are critical. Here's a look back at days 1 and 2 on Lake Murray.
What are you doing?
Oh, no.
What do you want to go do?
Go fishing.
You want to go fishing?
Day 1.
Why are these men smiling? Because they're about to fish Lake Murray, which with record low water might be fishing even better than usual. As anyone should know, it's Davey Height.
Never been this low this time of year, at least in my lifetime. I've been living here basically my whole life. So, but the one thing that is consistent about it, it's a good lake, a lot of big fish. So there'll be some good weights.
It's going to take a big sack every day, I believe. The water's down, the fish are kind of piled up, and there's a lot of big fish in this lake. So I think it's going to take a load.
Chevy pro Larry Nixon started off at the southeast end of the lake, near Goat Island. With a half-ounce brown jig tied on, Larry was targeting the outer edge of grass lines.
You know, I could see it, and I was just following it back and forth and really staying on that edge and just dropping that jig about 15 or 20 foot from the boat, keying on that what I thought would be the strike zone, which is that last 10 feet of grass, and that's where I caught that fish.
That was the only fish Nixon caught on a jig, but he ended up with a limit and almost 15 pounds. And that's enough for a top 10 at many events. But on the first day at Lake Murray, it took a lot more. Anglers needed almost 22 pounds to crack the top 10. Huge sacks came to the stage, none bigger than Oklahoma's Daryl Robertson.
These 5 fish weigh in at 26 pounds, 13 ounces, 26-13.
Robertson's stringer came on a crankbait, like many of the top catches. More than a few anglers had stellar day ones. In all, there were 85 limits and 13 stringers over 20 pounds. Snickers Big Bass honors belong to Dave Lefebvre at 9-1.
Lake Murray, Day 2.
Anglers getting ready to make a move on the top 10 were about to get a curveball from Mother Nature when a chance of rain turned into a lightning storm, then a steady downfall. Again, the ability to adapt to changing conditions was at a premium. Daryl Robertson adapted real well, with almost 23 more pounds for a 2-day catch of 49.8, the biggest qualifying weight in FLW history.
Well, I caught one fish, and I fished another place, and I didn't catch one, and I went to another place up there where they had a bite, and I caught 10 on 10 casts. So it was happening pretty good. Yeah, caught 10 on 10 casts.
Again, Robertson's big haul was on a crankbait way up the Saluda River. Other success stories, Bud Pruitt with 24.3 and the 9-pound Snickers Big Bass to make the finals. Nixon had almost 21. And Stanley Mitchell, who used a 28-pound sack to jump all the way from 126 into the top 10. The remaining finalists, Dan Moorhead, Jody Cordell, John Cruz, Wesley Strader, Chris Elliott, and Rick Clunn. On the co-angler side, an FLW first. 2 women made the top 10. Pam Wood of Bono, Arkansas, who led all qualifiers, and Laura Aldridge of Berkeley, Michigan. The co-angler title went to Lonnie Fuller of Hemphill, Texas, who caught 16 pounds in the finals to claim the $15,000 check. When we come back, you'll meet our 10 pro finalists.
Welcome back to the third stop on the Walmart FLW Tour. We are here at beautiful Lake Murray in Columbia, South Carolina. As we mentioned before, we had a full field of 175 professionals who started this tournament. We cut ourselves down to a top 10 who made what we call the Poland cut. Let's meet our 10 finalists right now. With his success here on Lake Murray and at each of our first 3 events, our first finalist is the new leader in the Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year race. He's in his second top 10 of the season and 7th lifetime, currently in 10th place from Paducah, Kentucky, Dan Moorhead. Our next finalist was one of 13 anglers to catch at least 20 pounds on day 1. He's in his rookie season on the FLW Tour, currently in 9th place, just over 11 pounds off the lead from Flowery Branch, Georgia, Jody Cordell. Our next finalist is a 3-time FLW champion. His success is consistent and legendary. He earned his 17th FLW Top 10 thanks to a 19-pound stringer on day 1. He enters today's action in 8th place within 6 pounds of the lead from Ava, Missouri, Rick Clunn. Our next finalist is one of the rising stars on the FLW Tour. He won the FLW Ouachita Championship last year in dramatic style. He earned a slot in today's finals with a 22-pound stringer on day 1. In 7th place, 5 pounds off the lead from Spring City, Tennessee, Fuji Pro Wesley Strader. Our next finalist is competing in his 2nd season on the pro side of the FLW Tour. This is his first top 10. His day 1 total of over 24 pounds, 4th best of the field. Currently in 6th place, 4.5 pounds off the lead from Jetersville, Virginia, John Cruz. History is on the side of our next finalist. He won nearly $1 million in 1999, the most ever. His qualifying round here at Lake Murray, 49.5 pounds, again the most ever. Currently in 5th place, 3 pounds off the lead from Jay, Oklahoma, Daryl Robertson. Our next finalist turned in one of the greatest comebacks ever on the FLW Tour. On day one, he was in 126th place. By day two, he was in 10th. And in his first ever top 10, thanks to a 28-pound stringer. Currently in 4th place, 2 pounds off the lead from Fitzgerald, Georgia, Stanley Mitchell. Our next finalist is in the midst of his rookie season on the FLW Tour. His 16-pound stringer yesterday put him within striking distance of the championship. In just his 3rd FLW event, he's in 3rd place, just under 2 pounds off the lead. From Gloucester, North Carolina, Chris Elliott. Our next angler got to the finals thanks to the big bites. On day two, he landed a 9-pound 3-ouncer. Yesterday, adding a 7-pound 9-ouncer. Currently in 2nd place, 1 pound, 9 ounces off the lead from Spring, Texas, Bud Pruitt. Our next finalist is a 2-time FLW champion. His 21-pound stringer on day two set him up for a possible 3rd title. He's one of the biggest names in the history of professional fishing. Currently in 1st place with 17 pounds, 15 ounces from B Branch, Arkansas, Larry Nixon. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause to our 10 finalists here at the 3rd stop on the FLW Tour. As you can see, one of our anglers has a lead. The other 9 are chasing that leader. We'll find out how they got to where they are as we recap the exciting action from day 3 when FLW Outdoors returns.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to FLW Outdoors and the first day of the final round here on Lake Murray. This is one of the most talented top 10s in recent memory. Not only do we have legends like Larry Nixon and Rick Clunn, but we've also got 2 females who made the co-angler top 10 for the first time in FLW history. We'll talk to Larry and Laura Aldridge in just a moment, but first we'll send you upriver to Taylor Carr, who's with Daryl Robertson and Pam Wood.
Only hours after setting an FLW record with a 2-day total of 49.5 pounds, Daryl Robertson picked up where he left off. Just west of the Saluda River Bridge, Robertson put 2 fish in the boat in 2 minutes. And then, using the same crankbait as the day before and bumping it along the bottom, Robertson landed his 3rd keeper at 8:53. We've moved a ways now upriver from the bridge across the Saluda River. And Daryl, you got 3 fish in the boat. You know, you're making this look way too easy.
Well, they're not big enough, so I can tell you that.
How many pounds do you have right now?
Probably about 6 pounds.
Is the current the key here?
Yeah, somehow or another these fish, there's a little bit of an eddy whooping around this stump right here. And like I say, I may have caught all of them lives here yesterday, but I caught about 20 right here on this little point right here.
Now, is this the spot you caught 10 on 10 casts?
Yeah, I pulled up here and caught 10 on the first 10 casts.
That doesn't happen every day.
No.
Pam Wood of Bono, Arkansas had 13.5 and 13.7 the first 2 days. That is consistency. What were you doing, Pam?
One of my fellow co-anglers had given me a spinnerbait, and he said, "Don't put it down, don't put it down." And I just kept throwing it both days, and the Lord blessed me with some fish. I mean, I don't know a lot about fishing, so they just put me in the right spot, I guess.
Meanwhile, her pro, Daryl Robertson, was on his way to an early limit, but without a fish over 2 pounds.
It was a different story for Chevy pro Larry Nixon, fishing on the other side of the lake. Nixon was south of Saluda Dam, about as far from Robertson's position as you can get. And with 1 bite, he surpassed Robertson's limit. Nixon's 10th cast of the day produced a 7-pounder and made him an instant contender.
Man! Check that sucker out.
Nixon added 2 more healthy fish just after 9 o'clock for 15.5 pounds, barely an hour into the final round.
Enter 27-year-old rookie Chris Elliott, who was determined to make a strong showing in his first FLW final. And talk about confidence.
I bet I catch one right here.
Now that's confidence. Elliott was about to land his 3rd fish for a total of 7.5 pounds.
You get the net? I know you like that, didn't you? You can see these big boulders up on the bank, and there's a couple of them right here in the water. And when you bring that spinnerbait by that boulder, it's almost automatic. If I could call everyone like that, I'd be good, wouldn't I?
Elliott didn't call his next two, but he was inching closer to the lead. He got his limit at 9:42 to give him 13.5 pounds. At 10 a.m., he pulled to within 4 pounds of Nixon, who topped the leaderboard with 17.5. Then it was Robertson, Wesley Strader, and John Cruz.
Strader loves to fish a crankbait, and when the water gets dingy, he knows where to throw it.
That's what happens when you get this muddy water, man. They laying on the bank. There is net, big. Oh, gosh. Oh, get in here. I'm having fun. That's what it's all about, just having fun. Plus the chance to win $100,000.
When we come back, 3 more anglers make a late morning run for that big paycheck.
Coming up.
Welcome back to Walmart FLW Outdoors and the third stop on the FLW Tour. This is Lake Murray, South Carolina, and we're at the mouth of the Little Saluda River. Daryl Robertson had a limit early. He is upstream from here. The rest of the field toward the main body of the lake to our east.
The anglers have now been on the water for 3 hours, and Larry Nixon is holding a slim lead over Chris Elliott. Wesley Strader's run has put the Fuji Pro into 3rd place. Daryl Robertson is still holding at 9 pounds, and John Cruz is in 5th place. But watch out, because Bud Pruitt is about to start a championship-type run. With just one 1-pound fish in the live well, Pruitt lands this 7-pound, 9-ounce behemoth and gets on a roll.
Oh, come off of the net. Big boy. Mwah. Yuck.
10 minutes later, it's another keeper. The Texan now has 3 fish and 10 pounds. He's using a crankbait in 4 feet of water, and within the hour, Pruitt is culling. And his wife was calling on the cell phone. While Bud wanted to get back to fishing, he was happy to share the good news.
I got 3, 1 7-pound. Okay, love you. Bye.
In less than 2 hours, Bud leaped to 2nd place with just over 16 pounds.
Sweet. Mwah.
At each stop on the FLW Tour, Energizer honors the angler who came back from the farthest point to make the cut. At the end of day 1, Stanley Mitchell was in 126th place with just under 7 pounds. Day 2, he made the cut in 10th place with a catch of 28 pounds and 1 ounce. Stanley, do you realize that that's the 3rd largest stringer in FLW history?
Well, I wasn't really sure, but that's the biggest 5 I've ever weighed in a tournament, and it was just an unbelievable day yesterday for me. I found these fish the last day of practice, and they were up real shallow, and like I say, the first day I just out-thought myself, but luckily I thought it through that night and made a change, and it really helped me. Worked out yesterday. That's what fishing's all about. It's the ones that can make the right changes that always seem to do the best.
Before noon, Mitchell had just 2 keepers, but one of them was a 5-pounder. At around 12:30, Mitchell's lunch hour began, and the Georgia native was culling by 1 o'clock. Another angler riding a hot streak is Rick Clunn. One of the legends of the sport has a limit just before noon and then begins culling. Clunn is using a crankbait he designed called a Thunder Shad. It's chartreuse in color and runs up to 6 feet deep. Clunn found his success 1 to 2 feet below the surface.
By noon, Daryl Robertson's hot start had cooled. The Castrol Pro was out of the top 5. Needing a big bite, Robertson motored all the way from the west side of the lake to the east side, to an area known as the Jim Spence Islands. Daryl proved that leaderboards can change quickly on one hook set. That 5.5-pounder put Robertson back into contention with a total weight of 14.5 pounds, within striking distance of Larry Nixon's lead.
2 of the most intriguing storylines of this tournament are fishing out of the same boat. Larry Nixon is one of the most accomplished anglers in the history of bass fishing, and Laura Aldridge, as a co-angler, is one of 2 females to make the top 10. That's the first time that's ever happened in the history of the FLW Tour. Laura, you've had quite a run here in your debut season on the FLW Tour. You're taking it tournament by tournament. It all began as an observer in Okeechobee. Describe what this is like now in the top 10.
It's great. I'm nervous, very nervous. Scared. I'm excited to be here. Larry's great. He's been helping me out. He's rooting for me as much as I am, you know, so that's great.
Are you able to grasp the historic significance of the fact that never have two females made the co-angler top 10 before?
They never have?
Never have.
Oh, I thought it just hadn't been a while.
I'm impressed.
Oh.
I think it's great, personally.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm excited.
As the anglers headed back to the weigh-in tent, no one was out of the running. But it was clear a tight group of anglers were in position for a profitable day 4. Leading the charge, Chevy Pro Larry Nixon. And right on Nixon's heels is Bud Pruitt, trailing by a mere 1 pound 9 ounces. Coming up on FLW Outdoors, the exciting final day on Lake Murray.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to FLW Outdoors and the third stop on the FLW Tour. We have our leaderboard out in front, as we mentioned before, that we have certain leaders and everybody else is chasing Larry Nixon, who leads with 17 pounds, 15 ounces. Next is Bud Pruitt, Chris Elliott, Stanley Mitchell, and Daryl Robertson. That is your top 5. And the next 5 go John Cruz, Wesley Schrader, Rick Plunn, Jody Cordell, and Dan Moorhead. Now, each of our anglers are anxious on the stage. We've also got some anxious fans out in the stands, and that's where Taylor Carr is right now. Taylor?
This is Daryl Robertson's wife, Carol, from Jay, Oklahoma. You know, in 1999, Daryl won $250,000 and then $600,000 in the M1. He only gets $100,000 if he wins here. Will he even cash the check?
Oh, yeah, he'll cash the check. He might let me cash it. I don't know.
Daryl seems so laid back out there, and nothing seems to rattle him. Is he that way in the rest of his life?
He really is. He really has 3 professions, and regardless of which he's doing at a particular time, he really turns things over to God. He does his part and goes on with life.
All right, Carol Robertson cheering for Daryl.
That's great. Well, let's explain about what's going to happen now. This is our shootout style weigh, and as we mentioned, Larry Nixon is our leader, and each of the anglers will bring up enough fish to take Larry's lead, or they are out of the race. And so we will bring them up now. We have met the anglers. Now let's meet their fish.
Dan Moorhead was the first angler to weigh in and the first to weigh out. He had 5 good fish on Saturday, but couldn't overcome a weak showing Friday.
Great catch out there today, man. You turned it around from yesterday.
Well, you know, when you're 6 pounds, you know, I only have 6 pounds first day, you kind of go for broke, and I wanted to, you know, try to make a good comeback, and so Van Dam would have had a hard time fishing with me today. I had the trolling motor on high, and I covered a whole lot of water. Yeah, I was just throwing a lipless crankbait, covering a lot of water, trying to get a quality bite, and I caught quite a few fish today. I can't complain. I just never got the ones I needed.
Fish look like me, short and fat.
The next angler to go actually had the best day on the water. Jody Cordell brought 18.4 to the stage, but because he'd only weighed 6 pounds the day before, he came up short.
Today the water cleared back up. It was rough out there, but I did get to catch a fish.
Wow. Slow rolling a spin rate out there. What's the water depth you're working?
It's about 8 to 12 feet. I've been sitting in the boat in about 21 feet. I was catching a lot of big fish that way, and most of my areas yesterday were the wind just killed me, and that's why I had such a low weight. But also, this is my first FLW top 10 and third FLW tournament period, and I was really nervous. And I think I fished too fast yesterday. I wasn't doing what I needed to, and today I relaxed a little bit and just fished.
There he is. That's about 3 or 4 feet. It's pretty shallow, so I've been fishing a lot of deeper water. And let's hope that this helps out, that I move back a little bit.
You did a great job and you represented yourself well. Congratulations. Let's give him a great round of applause. Good job, Joe.
That's Jody Cordell.
It didn't take long for Fuji Pro Wesley Schrader to hit the road. He'd gone for a big bite Saturday, but only managed 1 fish.
I told Taylor when he pulled up this morning I'd had 1 big fish on. It's the only bite I'd had, and I said, to win this thing, I'm going to have to do something different and go for broke. And when you get here, that's the only thing you can do. You give yourself the opportunity to try to win, and that's what I've done today. I went and covered a lot of water like Dan did, but I had 2 bites, and that's the only fish I boated. But I'm tickled death just to be here. This gives me a little confidence going into the next one anyway. I've had 2 real bad ones to begin with, so it's good to be back in the top 10. I'm throwing a flat shad crankbait right here, and it's the only fish I caught got it on the stump. Watch, I lose the reel handle about 4 times.
Wet out there.
Just a little bit. I think these are the worst fishing conditions for a fisherman there is, because you lose all your mobility, and it puts a lot of fatigue on your hands, and you can't grip nothing, you can't hold on to anything. It's just, you can't feel anything either. So you're at a disadvantage right off the bat.
West Raider, Spring City, Tennessee. Let's give our Fuji Pro a great round of applause.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, 3 of our anglers have weighed out. 7 remain. We will continue our quest toward a champion when FLW Outdoors returns.
Welcome back to FLW Outdoors. Let's reset the scene. 3 anglers have weighed out, and Rick Clunn is in the lead with 25 pounds, 14 ounces. But it took all 5 of his fish to get there. So if John Cruz passes Clunn, the Hall of Famer is out. And that's what Cruz did with his 5th fish.
Great job today, Rick. Beautiful stringer fish you have, but not quite enough.
No, I just lost my bigger fish the last couple of days, and you need that on this Lake Murray to win a tournament. I tell you, I've had as much fun this week fishing. I've gone to bed at night, can't wait to get up. I mean, practice was just extraordinary. I mean, really, I've looked forward to going out there every day. Every day in practice, I was catching a 7-pounder, and you don't do that. I don't care how much you fish every day.
I mean, this is a great day for the final day. I mean, I pray for days like this for the finals, because finals are always on Saturday, and that's when you get your most traffic unless you get weather like this.
Fishing in solitude, Clunn targeted pockets and alternated between 2 crankbaits and a spinnerbait. You want to see how tough Rick Clunn is? Just after 7 o'clock, with the air temperature 49 degrees and the water temperature not much higher, Clunn embedded a hook in his hand while trying to free his line from a rope. The line didn't give and the rope didn't give, and Clunn was nearly dragged underwater. A few seconds later, the hook popped free, but Clunn was soaked from head to toe. He fished almost 7 more hours without changing clothes.
Day 1 and 2 record setter Darrell Robertson then tried to take the lead, but fell well short.
That's all. 2 fish for Darrell Robertson, 4 pounds, 6 ounces. Your toughest day came on the final day.
This reminded me a lot of practice.
Robertson had a terrible practice, but followed it with that record catch in the qualifying round. On the final day, when his bite left him again, Robertson knew what the problem was.
Yeah, I was thinking about it as I was coming down the lake. You know, all them big fish I caught the first 2 days, every fish I weighed in, the sun was shining when I caught them. You know how that sun popped out that second day for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then late that afternoon? I tried not to think about that, but that's the truth.
Next up, Stanley Mitchell, who with his 4th fish took the lead and knocked John Cruz out.
Great job over all 4 days, John.
Thank you. What a sensational week. I had no idea that I was on the type of fish that I was on coming into this tournament. I didn't know if I could go catch a limit or if I could catch 24 pounds is what I caught the first day. So, yeah, that was early this morning. I caught one on a real shallow running crankbait. He hit right where the trolling motor had just churned up mud.
Nice chunky little 2-pounder. Thank you very much. I love the taste of fish in the morning. That fish had to be just a kamikaze. I didn't have 5 feet of line out. He just plastered it.
Cruz later lost a nice fish, but stayed with that lipless crankbait until he hooked a 3-pounder.
There he is.
He was on his way to a limit and a 3rd-place finish, his best as an FLW pro.
Barely hooked, but I got him in this time. That's the one I needed. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Great job of fishing over 4 days. Let's give him a good round of applause. John Cruz.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is March Madness, and we are down to our final 4 here at Lake Murray. When we return, we'll whittle down and troll a little closer toward crowning a champion here on the 3rd stop on the FLW Tour. Don't go away.
reset the scene. Stanley Mitchell has the lead and 6 anglers have weighed out. Only 3 have a chance to catch Mitchell: Larry Nixon, Bud Pruitt, and Chris Elliott.
Taylor Carr is out in the audience with some anxious members who are looking at one of the remaining finalists. Taylor?
Chris Elliott's about to weigh. His wife, Rhonda, from Gloucester, North Carolina, with us now. Now, can you ever look at Chris's face and tell how he's done in a tournament?
Yeah, usually I can. He looks really serious. So let's see if he looks serious today.
How about now? Can you tell?
He looks pretty serious. Let's hope it's a good day.
This is just his 3rd FLW event. Did he think he'd get to the top 10 this soon?
Well, Chris is very confident and dedicated, so I think he felt like he was going to do pretty well.
Are you confident?
Yeah, I feel confident.
Proud of him anyway, I'm sure.
Very.
Rhonda Elliott in the Chris Elliott cheering section.
Rhonda read her husband's intensity well. Chris took the lead on just 3 fish, including 1 whopper, which brought his 2-day total to 30 pounds, 9 ounces.
Bud Pruitt came to the scales next and was unable to match his day 3 total, bowing out with 3 fish for just under 4.5 pounds. This is how Bud Pruitt's day began. He overslept, missed the caravan of finalists from the Walmart parking lot, and joined the group at the ramp. But the energetic Texan was unfazed and talked with us about his morning pattern on the southeast corner of the lake.
What I'm fishing here is I'm fishing some shallow little bays that have some big boulders down there, a little bit of mixed in grass, and I'm just fishing a lipless crankbait, running it fairly fast over the top of all that broken rock and scattered grass. These are little bays these fish are going to pull up and spawn in, so every morning they kind of pull up on these little points early, and if you're lucky, you can get 2 or 3 of them off this little series of points right down through here.
Okay, that's 7 down, 3 remain, and here comes a first look at our tournament leader entering day 4. Larry Nixon will bring up his fish. Larry weighed in 17 pounds and 15 ounces yesterday to take a 1 pound, 9 ounce lead over Bud Pruitt. Larry now trails by 12 pounds and 11 ounces. 12-11 is what we will need out of Larry Nixon to be able to retake the lead and stay in the game.
Nixon's 3 fish for 4 pounds 11 ounces was not enough. His departure meant the top 2 anglers from Friday were out of the picture.
I stayed with it hard, folks. I really did. I tried hard. You can't believe how hard I tried.
Here's how Larry Nixon's day began.
Well, it wasn't a good start, that's for sure. That water was real rough out there, and I had my net tied down up there, and somehow or another that handle slid out from under that thing, and I saw it just about the time it came out, and there wasn't nothing I could do about it. So we're going to have to start out without a net and do it the old-fashioned way today.
This is tournament leader Larry Nixon, who has won in each of the past 2 years on the FLW Tour. Larry's gunning for number 3 in this final round. Larry, as tournament leader, you know there's a lot of pressure on you. All of the other 9 guys are gunning for your weight.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on me. Well, my only problem is to try to figure out what's happened to these fish and if they're still going to bite the way I've been catching them all week. I'm going to have to try some other things today because yesterday my fishing got so tough after about 9 or 9:30 that I just couldn't get a bite. So I'm going to try to fish my way through this thing. You know, I've been living and dying with a diamond shad and cranking that real shallow water up there in about 3 to 4 foot of water, and they dropped some more water out of this lake, and this lower end has really been affected by it. So, you know, I just got to figure out what these fish have done, and if I can figure that out, or they'll start biting again up there real shallow, you know, I can win. And there's going to be somebody catch a big sack today, so I've got to catch a big sack if I want to win.
It was a great tournament. You know, I'm not satisfied, believe me. I'm not like some of these younger guys. I'm not satisfied with top 10. I want to win.
Larry Nixon wants to win, and he'll be back with the review show. Let's give him a great round of applause to Larry Nixon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are down to our final 2 anglers. Our champion here on Lake Murray will be either Chris Elliott or the challenger, Stanley Mitchell. Just 1 pound and 7 ounces separate those 2. We'll crown a winner when we come back on FLW Outdoors. Welcome back to FLW Outdoors. We are down to our final two anglers. Our champion will be either Chris Elliott, who has 30 pounds and 9 ounces, or Stanley Mitchell, 29 pounds and 3 ounces. That is first and second place. Third place, John Cruz, then Rick Clunn, Jody Cordell. Each of those are finals. Also in sixth place, Larry Nixon, Bud Pruitt, Dan Moorhead, Daryl Robertson, and Wesley Strader. That is your top 10. I am on stage now with our tournament leader, Chris Elliott, 30 pounds, 9 ounces. You have weighed in so far. It has been a phenomenal tournament for you.
Yeah, it's been a great tournament. I hear people say they had good practices, and I hear some say they had bad. I had a horrible practice. I found a little old area where I caught 3 not even big ones, 2-pounders on a rattle trap, and the last 2 days of practice, I voted 1 keeper fish. And I just went back to that area where I caught those 3 on a rattle trap and dug a little bit deeper and found out how to really catch them.
Let's take a look at some video of you out on the water, and let's talk a little bit about these adjustments, because we had sunny skies and some beautiful weather on day 1, and then the weather just got worse and worse until today it was just nothing but rain. How did that affect your fishing?
You know, I'm not sure that it really affected my fishing so much as what I was having to do. I caught my first 2 days bags on a crankbait, and that hard northeast wind we had yesterday and today, I'm watching what I'm doing here. It put 3-foot muddy rolling waves on my crankbait fish. So I've been going through crankbait withdrawal for the past 2 days. That's my favorite way to catch them, and I haven't had a place to catch them on that crankbait in the past 2 days. So I had a little old grass bed. There was a backup plan, and I was forced to fish there all day yesterday and forced to fish there all day today. And I just went there and did the best I could. I went over there and I caught those 2-3 pounders in about 30 minutes, and it died off a little bit. And then I caught that 7-pounder about an hour later. I was pulling my spinnerbait out of the water, and I had a little old Eagle Claw trailer hook on it, which I always throw on my spinnerbaits. He jumped out of the water after that spinnerbait as I was pulling it out of the water, and that little old trailer hook snagged him right in the corner of the mouth, and he just laid there like, net me. I dipped the net under him. I got him in the boat, and you could probably hear me screaming for 10 miles.
There's the value of a trailer hook, folks. All righty, now talk about what this would mean to you. Right now you have a 1-pound and 7-ounce lead over Stanley Mitchell. What would this mean for you to turn in a championship here at Lake Murray?
Well, it's been what I've been striving for since, I was 12 or 13 years old. That's when I started fishing bass tournaments, and I said, if I put my mind to it, I can win one of those one day. I've watched people like Rick and Larry, it seems like every weekend, winning tournaments on FLW, and I said, I just want to be there one day, and I've put the blinders on and been focused as much as I can, and I hope it works out.
All righty. Well, Chris Elliott is our leader. Our challenger is Stanley Mitchell. He's with Charlie Evans.
Stanley's had a phenomenal tournament here. Day 1, not quite so great.
No, it was pretty rough, Charlie.
Only just a 6 pounds or something on day 1. On day 2, the heaviest stringer of the event, 28 pounds.
Yeah, that was just one of those blessed days, Charlie. I figured out a little something, and I started catching fish about 8:30 that morning, and just had a phenomenal day. I caught like 9 fish that day and threw back 3-4 pounders, and that's unheard of.
So you figured out a little something, and I heard you've been on day 1 standing out, throwing with your crankbait into the bank and bringing it in. Day 2, you just turned around.
Well, not quite that much, but I moved my boat out and fished, probably 3 to 5 foot, where the first day I fished like a foot, to 2 foot deep. So it wasn't much. Doesn't take much a lot of times, but that's all it was, and I was just blessed that day.
I tell you, you had a tremendous stringer yesterday right there in contention today. 1 pound, 7 ounces out of the lead. Let's take a look at you on video out there at Lake Murray. Stanley Mitchell in action. Tell us what you're doing.
I'm spinnerbaiting today. I never could get anything going at all with my crankbait, so I like to fill out the boat, I guess. I didn't remember that. But I tell you, it was a wonder anybody caught anything out there today. That's about as cold and miserable as I've been in a pretty long time.
We talked to your camera boat driver, and he said under the toughest circumstances he'd ever seen, he'd never seen anybody as focused as you were the entire day.
Well, you have to. I've been fishing a long time with Rick and Larry and different ones, and to beat those guys, you got to stay focused. And I learned a long time ago, when you go out, you got to have a game plan, and you can't wonder if I should, move over here and move down the lake, if they're not biting. And I made up my mind, this place that I'd found, that it had the chance, the capability to win a tournament, because I was just right in the mouth of a creek, and all the fish should be moving in to spawn. And I had the perfect place, and I just stood right in there and caught what I could catch.
He did a great job. He's weighed in 4 fish so far. One more could put him in the lead. Let's see what Stan Mitchell has. Stanley, do you have fish number 5?
Let's take a look now. Stanley Mitchell is unable to bring up 1 pound and 7 ounces. We have a champion, Chris Elliott, your champion here on Lake Murray. $100,000. Now, Chris, just a moment ago, you said if I win this thing, you're going to see a guy run around this stage.
I'm going to tell you, I'll do anything I have to do to win it. It's been a dream of mine, like I said, like I was 12 or 13 years old, and I just can't believe it happened.
$100,000. This has got to be a peak for your career and a great start for a good, young, budding professional angling career for you.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. Things are looking up. I'm excited to go from here.
All righty. Well, we've got some excitement coming up the stage right here. Here's your wife. Talk a little bit about what this means to you and your family here.
It's a blessing. I can't believe it.
Were you surprised, or could you tell from the look on his face?
Yeah, because he was so serious. I could tell.
All righty. Well, I tell you what, we've got all kinds of family members coming up. We have our check presentation now. Here's Don Johnson from Walmart. Here we go. Here's the big hardware right here. All righty. Ladies and gentlemen, here is your champion once again from Lake Murray, Chris Elliott, $100,000. Be sure to tune in next week as we review this exciting championship with Larry Nixon, who just may interview himself next week on FLW Outdoors. And for all the latest information on the FLW Outdoors family of tournaments, log on to FLWOutdoors.com. Thanks for watching, everybody, this week on FLW Outdoors.
Yeah! Woo! Oh, come off of the net. Big boy. Mwah. Yuck. Oh, get in here. Nothing. I got nothing.